What up, Wastelanders? Christopher here, Gaslands, NorCal. Thanks for joining me once again for another conversion video. Now this time we're going to be doing something for a buddy from way down under. Phil from Australia reached out to me via Instagram and talked about how much he liked my stuff and everything else, and asked if I'd ever done a 73 Holden and a Ford Falcon XD kind of comparison, like US versus Australia. So I was able to get my hands on two castings. Got them right here, and I'm going to do these up for him and get them sent out as soon as I am able. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So you know what we got to do first off? We got to get these babies apart, get them into the stripper. Alright, here he's all stripped and primed and everything. For the priming, I used some of the, let's see, Color Forge Ghoul Gray. This is some new stuff that I got. Works out really, really well. I like how smooth it goes on and everything. It's a very big can, so hopefully it'll last in a while, just depending on how many builds I do. So when I stripped the Holden, some of the paint didn't come off, which is okay. I don't mind it, you know, looking all kind of crusty and raised. So give it a little more depth and detail when I have to do the actual painting and everything. So for both of these vehicles, if you'll notice on the Falcon, I swapped out the bodies. This one, the one I had before, did have the motor coming up, but I want to put a decal on the front of each one of these, and I wanted some place to stick the decal, so I swapped it out with the Falcon that did not have the motor coming up. So that's what we're going to use. So for the Falcon, I'm going to start off with the faded green, and then I'm going to drop in some of the dark blue, both from Monument Hobbies Pro Acrylic line, for the Holden, to get kind of more of the colors of the US versus Australia. So let's get these things painted up and we'll see how it's coming along. Got some ideas for the wheels and weapons and everything already. So yeah, let's get them painted up and then we'll see where we're at. But looking good so far. Alright, so we're all base coated up. We've got the US one going into the pale green, and the Australian one in kind of a royal blue. I'm going to go through and change the color of like the door, trunk, maybe the hood for some of them, or one or the other, or both, or whatever, with some different colors and stuff, before I get it all agraxed up and get some grunge going on. I got the lift kits and the wheels picked out for both of them. The lift kits come from We Play Games. They do some great stuff, great material, great service and everything else, so highly recommend them. We Play Games on Etsy. Make sure you check them out if you're looking for some really cool lift kits. So let's get some of the doors and trunks and everything painted up, and then we will grunge it up. We'll get the wheels on the lift kits and stuff and get those prepped and ready to go. Then we'll get everything together and glued and everything and start looking at what kind of wheels and weapons we're going to do. But yeah, coming along just fine. Alright, so we're all painted up and put back together and everything, looking pretty cool. Got the wheels and the lift kits all together. Just got to get a little more painting done on those. Picked out the rams, front and back rams. Got some nitrous going on. The weapons are all ready to go. A little bit of armor. Going to do some armor on the back windshield for the Falcon, and then some mesh armor on the Holden. Got the decals picked out for the front and the NOS for the decals on the side. So yeah, we're going to get all the bits that aren't painted up, we'll get those painted up, get everything starts so it's going back together. First off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of grunge work on here, some of the chipping and stuff. I'm going to start off and kind of jump a couple steps. I'm going to dust both vehicles with some dark ivory, just a really light coat. Kind of brings out where all the little nooks and crannies should be. You can kind of see them, but it'll bring it out a little bit more. It'll also bring out the areas of the paint that didn't come off on the Holden, and it'll make that look cooler. I know it will. So we'll get those done, get them dusted, get everything else painted up, and then start getting everything put together. But yeah, these things are looking pretty cool. It'd be pretty badass to see them going head to head in the Wasteland. So let's do it. Alright, so everything is all painted up and ready to go. The decals are all cut out and everything else. Everything's dusted, so you can see how everything kind of pops out and stuff. Even like the area where the paint didn't come off on the Holden came out really cool, like I was hoping it would, like I knew it would. So next, I'm going to go through and do something a little bit different. I normally will go through and do some chipping and then do some rusting and then add the oxide grime and stuff on there. I'm going to kind of merge a couple of those methods. I'm going to add the oxide grime, but I'm going to use the sponge method instead of using a brush to get that on there. And I'm going to do it the same way as I would with the chipping. Just like dip it in there. Instead of like dabbing it off, I'm just going to dab around the edges to get a little bit more kind of sporadic rust looking. Haven't done this before, so this will be a new attempt for me. But you know, hey, it sounds like a cool idea. And then we will get everything together. Actually, first, let's do the decals first. We'll get the decals on there, and then we'll do the oxide grime, get everything together, and then start doing some dry brushing with the rusting and everything else and seeing where we're at. So yeah, let's do some decals, and then we will get some grime on. So let's get going. Alright, so as you can see, I got everything pretty much together except for the weapons and the nitrous, because I was thinking about it, and instead of doing some of the rusting and then getting stuff on there and then having to do more rusting, I just wanted everything on there first before I do all the rusting. That way I'm not trying to do stuff over the top of it or redo stuff or anything else. Got some really cool exhaust going on. The exhaust coming from Cave and Factory. I'm really loving those. They're coming out really great. I'm really enjoying this. They're coming out just fantastic. So next I actually am going to do the oxide grime on these, and then get the activator going on before I do the dusting or the dry brushing with the dry brush rust from MIG as well. So gonna get these all sponged up with the oxide grime. Like I said, it's first time doing this, so cross fingers, hope this turns out pretty good. So yeah, let's get it rusty and see where we're at. But yeah, these things are looking really cool. I'm really enjoying how these are turning out. Let's get rusty. Alright, so we're all together now. These things just look awesome. I love how they're turning out. I love the decals and everything. Turned out very, very cool. Kind of very much identify them as the Australian versus the US. So the last couple things I'm going to do is I'm going to dust it one more time with the dark ivory from Monument Hobbies. I'm going to get the wheels and everything all dusted up so you can see all the details and everything else. And then I'm going to do a final touch up with some of the rust, the orange rust from Vallejo, just to get some of the other little spots to pop out, and then we will be good to go and these things will be ready for the Wastelands. But yeah, looking very cool, very, very happy with it. So let's get dusty and rusty. Let's do it. Alrighty, and there we have it. A Ford Falcon representing the US going up against a Holden Monaro for the Australian side of things. Both turned out very, very cool. Loving the wheels on both of them, the lift kits and everything. The exhaust just really brings everything out. I would say they both have kind of the same loadout, both with the front ram and the rear ram, both sporting some nitrous. Miniguns. This one's got a rocket. This one's got an additional, probably like a heavy machine gun. But yeah, head to head, I would say these things, it would be a roll of the dice. You know, just whoever got the best rolls and everything else to see who would come out on top, whether it was a death race or a death match or whatever the case may be. Loving the decals on both of them. But yeah, really, really pleased with how these both turned out. Had a blast doing them. Hopefully Phil likes these. My Australian counterpart that requested them. So yeah, had a really good time doing them. Really turned out well. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, do me a favor and hit that like button. My goal is to do weekly videos, whether they're vehicle builds, terrain builds, battle reports, whatever. So if that's for you, hit the sub button below and ring the bells to be notified when new content drops. I do sell all my builds pretty inexpensively on my Etsy page, so if you want to pick something up, see what else I've done, you can request a custom build. If you'd really like to show some love, head on over to my Patreon page and get signed up. Every bit helps keep the paint flowing, the printer printing, and the camera rolling. Until next time, keep your foot on the gas and your finger on the trigger. Gaslands NorCal, signing out.